it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a card using the brand new Lawn Fawn set on the beach, and then I've also thrown in a little bird from Say What Pets that I'll be turning into a seagull. So I've stamped my images out with Memento Tuxedo Black ink on some Copic friendly cardstock. I'm going to be coloring with my Copic markers today, and you can see right up at the top what colors I'm using. I'm starting with the little bear, and I'm using W00, W1, and W3. And the whole idea for this card, when I saw this set, was to have a polar bear on vacation. So I just thought it would be super fun to have him taking a trip to the tropics for his birthday and laying out on the beach. So I'm coloring him so that he looks white, but I want him to have some nice contrast. So I'm adding a few of these warm grays to the outer edge of his body. And then I'm going to be switching to some red colors. I'm using R29, R39, and R59, which is my favorite red combo. I'm using that R59 to add some depth into the areas where I want to be shadowed. And then I'm going to blend with the R39 as my mid-tone, and then I'll fill in what remains with the R29. And I'm just going to color a couple little images on screen, and then I'll color the rest off screen to save you some time in the video. The next combo I'm using is Y13, Y15, and Y17, and I'm coloring in the center of the beach ball and the little sun on the sunscreen bottle, as well as the umbrella in the coconut drink and the seagull's beak. Next up is YG03, YG05, and YG09, and I'm coloring in another section of the beach ball and the straw in the coconut drink and a section of my towel. I'm really going with the bright primary colors today. And then I'm also going to color a section of my umbrella off screen. For my blues, I'm using B21, B23, and B26. And again, I'm going to color in another section of my beach ball, another stripe of the towel, and the bottle of suntan lotion, and another section of the umbrella. And always just coloring with the darkest color first, that B26, and then blending with my mid-tone, the B23, and then using the B21 to really create that nice highlight. To add to the whole idea of my polar bear on vacation in the tropics, I wanted to give him a sunburn on his nose. So I'm using E93, E95, and E97 for that. I'm also coloring in the conch shell the same way, and also the inside of his ear. The coconut shell is E43, E44, and E47, starting with that dark E47 down at the bottom. And I'm also going to color the umbrella pole with those same shades. So I'm adding some shadow up under the umbrella and then also down towards the bottom where it's going to be stuck in the sand. And then E44 is my mid-tone and E43 my highlight. And I noticed the E44 got knocked back a little bit too much, so I added a bit more and then just blended that with the E43 again. I'm dressing up my paper umbrella with some red polka dots and trimming these out with the matching dies. To create my background, I'm taking a cloud stencil from MFT and sponging on some distress ink. I'm using Bristol Smooth Surface cardstock, which is my preferred cardstock to use with distress inks. They just blend so beautifully on it. And the color I'm starting out with is Squeeze Lemonade. So the top set of clouds is just the Squeeze Lemonade, and then the second one is Squeeze Lemonade combined with Spiced Marmalade. Then I'm using the Spiced Marmalade and I'll add in some worn lipstick. And then my fourth layer is going to be just the worn lipstick. So I'll have a nice graduation of color, getting more and more pink as I go down the card. And a lot of the more reddish layer is going to get covered up, but you'll get a little bit of that subtly in the background on the final card. I've trimmed out 2 of the stitched wave borders out of some more Bristol Smooth Surface cardstock, and I'm going to blend on Stormy Sky Distress ink for one of them, and then Faded Jeans for the second. So these are very similar colors, but the Faded Jeans is just a little bit darker, so we'll have more of that graduation of color on these. And then the final pieces to make up my background are 2 of the Stitch Hillside borders, and I'm sponging tea dye ink onto the first one and then antique linen onto the second one. Once those are done, I'm going to take my Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer and give those a good spritz. Let that water soak in for just a couple of seconds, and then I'll blot that up with a paper towel. And then I'll set these pieces aside to dry. I'm going to assemble my background from the bottom up, so I'm starting with my frontmost layer, which is the lightest layer, and adding a thin line of glue to the very bottom with the glue tube. And then I'm going to carefully lift up the top edge of that and slide in the next layer and make sure that that's lined up nice and straight. Then I can grab the first of the ocean waves, and I'll just pick that up and tuck that behind the sand, making sure that there's no gaps of the cardstock to show the cloud background between those 2 layers. And then I can grab my additional wave border, and I'm going to add that one behind the lighter wave border. So we're going to keep building up with the darkness and the depth as we go up the card. Then I can start adding in my images. I'm going to take the umbrella and tuck that between the 2 layers of sand. I'm using the glue tube on the back of the stand of the umbrella, and then I have some foam tape lifting up the actual upper part of the umbrella. I'm using regular glue to adhere my towel, and then foam tape for my bears so that I have some more dimension. And one of the reasons I love liquid glue is because you're able to adjust. So I didn't like the height of my towel. I thought it was too high up the card. So I simply removed my bear and slid that down while the glue was still wet, and then adhered my bear back into place. I tried out a few different areas for the coconut drink, and then finally settled on the beach towel near his feet since there was some space there. And then I adhered my beach ball towards the left-hand side of the card, so it would kind of mirror the umbrella on the right, and that was with regular glue. I'm also trying out a couple different places for my little seagull, and I'm just tucking him beneath the sand so you can't even see the little stand that he was on, which I didn't even bother coloring because I knew that was what I was going to do from the beginning. I added my sunscreen over on the right, and then I have a couple of seashells that I want to sprinkle throughout the scene to keep going with that beachy vibe. And then I have a little starfish as well, so I'm just going to add a dot of glue over by the suntan lotion bottle and adhere that over on the right. On a piece of scrap cardstock, I'm stamping out the sentiment, "Have a relaxing birthday," from the On the Beach stamp set. And I stamped that down twice using Memento Tuxedo black ink. Then I'm going to pop my whole scene into my MISTI so that I can stamp out 2 seagull images from an older Lawn Fawn set called Life is Good. I just felt like the sky area was a little blank, so this kind of gives a little bit more life to the sky and also draws your eye upward. And then I'm also going to pop in my card base so I can do some stamping on that. And I'm using Lawn Fawn's Manatee ink to stamp out some more images from Life is Good, and then the sentiment "Seize the Day" from On the Beach. So these sets work really well together. I'm going to grab my glue tube once again and add some liquid glue to the back of my focal panel, and then I'm going to adhere that down to cover the entire card front. And then to finish off the card, I have trimmed down my sentiment using a Lawn Fawn Everyday Sentiment banner. I've added some foam tape to the back of that, and I'm going to pop that up in the upper left corner. So that completes our card for today. There's another peek at the inside. I hope you guys have enjoyed my little polar bear on vacation in the tropics for his birthday. He's having a nice little holiday there with his friend the seagull, and this card just makes me laugh. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love having your support, and I love reading your feedback, so go ahead and leave me a comment down below. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day. Bye-bye.